Heard of a miracle baby? Well, you're about to witness one because that's the theme of today's case. Mr. Ball sues his girlfriend, Ms. Cox, over the paternity of her child. He claims she initially told him she couldn't get pregnant, but out of nowhere, she says he fathered her daughter. If he isn't the baby's father, then who is?
You say that you were...
Testimonies from both sides. It's hard to tell if Mr. Ball is indeed the baby's biological father or not. I think now is a good time to hear the test results. Let's have it.
Mr. Ball, you are her father. Is that the news you wanted?
Yes.
So understand this. Whatever the doubt has stopped you, blocked you from doing, from fully committing.
This is one crazy case and a can of worms. The can of worms partially opened when Ms. Webster learned that Myron Smith, the man she thought was her father, wasn't really her father. She now thinks her real father is Mr. Ware. Here is how it begins.
Drag the defendant, Mr. Ware, to paternity court to prove that he is your father and claim today's results will prove your case.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Ware, you admit that you had a relationship with Ms. Webster's mother around the time of conception, but say for the past 40 years, you were told...
Oh, if you asked your dad if he was your biological father and he replies with that, then it probably means he is hiding something. That sort of answer would just make you have even more doubts. And that is exactly what happened with Ms. Webster. Of course, she went searching for answers.
Cousin, Miss Smith, and she said, I really believe in my heart that Mr. Ware is your father. She said, you walk like him, you chuckle like him. She said, if I close my eyes and you both chuckle, you wouldn't know the difference.
Really?
I had a baby book for a long time, and I never really started putting things together until...
So Ms. Webster's mom was seeing Mr. Ware at the time she got pregnant, but she explained that the child belonged to another man and not to her. That makes things very tricky, doesn't it?
Did you ever do the math and think about when she possibly was conceived and whether or not you were in a relationship with her mother at that time?
No, Your Honor. At that time, being, I believe, around 15, 16 years old, I didn't know anything about timelines.
So you just took her word for it?
Yes.
This happened when he was 16? Well, that's understandable. They were just kids. Now, Mr. Webster insists that she hears things about Mr. Ware being her father. Did Mr. Ware ever hear rumors about this?
Never got anything, never got any information.
How did you lose contact? You all dated, were you boyfriend and girlfriend in high school?
Yes, Your Honor, we were, but we lost contact because a couple of years after that, I went into the military.
Okay. And when you came back, no one said to you, you may have a child?
No one said that to me, and the mom had.
Mrs. Webster insists that this is a sign from the supernatural that Mr. Ware is her father, and you have to admit, the coincidence is a bit suspicious. She immediately saw him after praying to God to reveal who her father was to her. Here is what Mr. Ware thinks about that.
At that time, until she introduced herself.
Well, I also went to meet your mother, and she said, I knocked on the door, and I said, hi, I'm Demisha, I'm Marsha's daughter. And she stepped back, she said, well, baby, what took you so long? Did your mama get that blood test done?
And Mr. Ware is just being the perfect gentleman here. He is saying he never for once believed in his heart that Ms. Webster was his child. Her mother told him he was not the father, and that was that about that. That is the fact of the matter, and he makes that so clear.
I got a letter in the mail stating that I had to come down to the child support. When I got there, Miss Webster was like, Miss Brady was there. She said that I was Miss Webster's dad. So, being naive, I just took her for a word. I signed the papers. I said, because I'm gonna do the right thing and step up to the plate. If it's my child, then I'm gonna be there for her.
Well, that settles it then. The only way to settle this confusion is to actually invite Ms. Webster and see if she can tell her part of the story. The good thing is, she is also in court, and now it is time to see what she has to say.
So when Mr. Ware talks about being there and rubbing your stomach and all of that, you weren't also in a relationship with him?
I was in a relationship with Mr. Ware. He was my supporter. He did everything for me, with me, and everything. But he's not the father.
Ms. Brady insists that Mr. Myron Smith, the original father, is actually Ms. Webster's father. Of course, Ms. Webster does not believe this nonsense, but that is the story that her mother is sticking with. Here is what Mr. Myron Smith thinks.
That you are not my child. I love you like a child and like a sister, but you're not my child.
It's Tamara Smith, and I grew up in the household with Demisha's mother, Miss Webster.
Okay.
Well, there is only one way to get to the bottom of this mess, and that is by checking the DNA test. Ms. Brady insists that not only is Mr. Myron Smith the father, Mr. Ware has 0 chances of being the father. Only one way to find out.
Mr. Smith, you are not her father. Are you surprised?
Hurt? Yes. Surprised? No.
I thank you for everything that you've done for me.
Always, baby.
I appreciate you.
Two men paying child support for her 2-year-old daughter. Yep, as strange as it sounds, that's the theme of today's court case. With good reasons, her main man is very doubtful of fathering the kid and demands a paternity test. But if he's indeed the child's biological father, he will pay more child support. Fasten your seatbelts because it's about to be a Ms. Brewington knows with a shadow of doubt that Mr. Lee is her son's biological father, and she will not be leaving this court until she gets the results she wants. Mr. Lee says this is a lie, and he says he will not pay a dime in child support. Here is how it starts out.
Mr. Lee, you say you've known from day one Giovanni was not your son, and you are here to prove Ms. Brewington is a liar and has been using you for money. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
So, Ms. Brewington, you claim you are 100% certain that Mr. Lee...
Oh, it looks like Mr. Lee also has a lot to say. And when it comes to opening statements, it does not get better than what Ms. Brewington just did. She was confident, laid out all her points, and you kind of want to say that she is definitely the child's father. Here is Mr. Lee's response.
At the time that Gio was conceived, we were not having no type of intercourse. We were not cool at the moment.
You don't believe you were working on the relationship at the time Giovanni was conceived?
No, not at all.
You weren't together?
No, not at all.
Your Honor, I was living with him. We were living in the same household, in the same bed.
Now, that sounds like a very technically correct answer. What does he mean by at the time of conceivement? So, did they start sleeping together after the child was conceived? And if he knew the baby wasn't his, why would he do that? Let us find out more.
Your Honor, I conceived my son in February. My birthday is February 1st.
All right.
And from the 1st until about Valentine's Day, we were in there.
Take me back to, listen.
Not at all, not at all.
Take me back to the day you found out you were pregnant.
Okay, I found out that I was pregnant. I actually went to the doctor to just re-up on my birth control.
A love baby? As opposed to other types of babies, who are hate babies? Anyway, Ms. Brewington sounds really convincing. Her facts are adding up, Mr. Lee seems lost, and it seems the DNA test result will just be a formality at this point. Here is what Mr. Lee thinks.
How she said her
He doesn't
birthday
wanna
is the
pay child
2nd of
support, Your Honor.
February.
It's not.
Her birthday's on the 2nd of February.
My
We
birthday's
was
on
not
the 1st
cool.
of February.
2nd.
My birthday is on the, how you gonna tell me what day
It's
I
the
was
2nd.
born? I was born on the 1st of
He
February.
said it's the second.
Yeah, look, it's close. It's the same.
He around there just like he was around. Exactly, see, exactly.
Will you let this man speak? You know what? It looks like Ms. Brewington is kind of doing too much. Way too much. She isn't allowing him speak at all, and Mr. Lee may not be saying a lot, but he is speaking really confidently and does not sound flustered. At this point, it is difficult to know who is saying the truth. Let us see what else is going on.
As you prepare for the birth of Giovanni, was Mr. Lee present?
No, he was telling people I was just getting fat. He was like, she just eats a lot of fast food. Everybody was rubbing, my friends were rubbing my stomach. I'm showing ultrasounds to people. He's like, don't believe her, she's just fat. The entire time. I'm talking about, I'm going into labor. He's like, no, you're not.
Ah, dude, you never do that. If you have even a shadow of a doubt, you delay signing that certificate till you find out if the baby is yours. If the baby turns out to be yours, great. But if the baby isn't yours and you already signed the birth certificate, you are looking at 18 years of tears. Lots of them.
Certificate?
It was the right thing at that moment. We already had a previous child, like I said, so
You just go around signing birth certificates.
because I'm gonna be around a child, I might as well.
Kids are
It's not like I can
Pokemon.
come there
Just
and
because he had one doesn't mean that he needed to collect them all. If he didn't think that was his child, he should not have done that.
You said that?
Actual cases.
Her car.
Again, Ms. Brewington isn't allowing anyone to get any words in. She is certain the baby is Mr. Lee's and just can't wait for the DNA test results to be read out. She is just tired of hearing the denial. So why did Mr. Lee not take the DNA test when she offered it?
figured when I signed it, I knew she was gonna put me on child support because I was already on child support. Now, with the previous child that we had, I had to do a DNA test at the child support services. I figured if I sign it, they're gonna take me right off after I do the DNA test. We came there, and then they said, no, we don't do a DNA test because you already signed the birth certificate.
Yes!
Wait, what? This is so messy. So her friend was telling Mr. Lee lies because she wanted to sleep with him? Is that really what we are going with here? Let us hear more about this lie and what Mr. Lee thinks of it.
That she actually is friends with the dude who is the father, and that he's trying to get in contact with Brittany, but she keeps ignoring him and wants me to be the dad since I'm there already. But for me, it didn't make a change. It was just more verification for me because it didn't change nothing. It wouldn't take me off child support. It wouldn't change the situation with the child.
Your
It's
Honor,
only
his
more
whole
information I could
life
use.
has been about out.
Multiple times? You know what? Ms. Brewington would have to be the liar of the century for this baby not to belong to Mr. Lee. She has put on such a performance today that any other outcome would blow our minds. Anyway, here is what the DNA test results say.
Mr. Lee, you are not the father.
Told y'all.
Hold up.
I already knew. I told you.
Don't look at me like that. I don't know God's
Who
plan.
else? It was you that
Did
was.
you just
do that.
inject God in this?
I did not put him in this. I'm just saying.
No, I'm just, hold on.